So what are some misconceptions about sex therapy? Because that was the first thing I asked when you were up there. I was like, so
what does she do?
How do you know you need therapy?
Yeah.
Like, and is it equivalent to going to a psychologist? And does insurance cover it? Is this something that's
so
truly...
many good questions. Okay, first, I am not in people's bedrooms. Like, people hear my sex therapy identity, and they're like, oh, so, like, do you go and, like, get people in positions? I literally am like, think about what you just said.
Who asked you that? That was a man.
It's always a man. It's always a man. Dang. But they will ask me questions, like, and I'm like, think about what you just said, and I'll ask them, and I'll just sit there and look. Right? Until they're like, you're right. Like, that's dumb, you know? So I'm not in people's bedrooms.
Has anybody ever asked you
to be in their bedroom?
To be in their bedroom and analyze?
Not yet. Not couple. No.
Oh, okay.
No. I'm sure it will come at some point. I'm sure.
Thought about it, yeah.
And believe me, sometimes I do wish
he
it was
said,
like ethical.
He said, would you do it?
No, I have ethics. And that's why I tell people I'm a licensed clinician. I am under ethics. I am under, examination board.
Well, that would be HIPAA law. You ain't got to tell us. It's just between y'all.
Right. Anyway, so please know that is not what we do, right? So I'm like you did. You went through and talked about some of my specialties. So I work with individuals, work predominantly with women.
Okay.
I will work with men, but I don't think right now that's my calling. It's not. It doesn't fill my cup like that. And so women is predominantly where I'm at.
Harder?
Say it again.
Are men harder to really work with than women? I feel like they would
so this
be
is my bias, and I
ego.
own it. No, I own it as a clinician. This whole world was built for the male gaze.
Male gaze?
The way they view
the gaze. Okay, gotcha.
And the way women's bodies are objectified. And so my whole thing is if I'm going to be a pleasure advocate, I need to go to the source of who my target population is to empower them.
Right.
To feel right, to rewrite those scripts for themselves. And then I'll eventually bring men into the equation. But I'm like, this whole world was built by white men for white men. And then men of color at times get to benefit off of that. But yeah, so right now my passion is women. And that's who I serve. And I do serve couples. I will say with heterosexual couples, men are the ones that they're like, I didn't make the call to talk to you. Wifey did.
Because I'm good.
So then I'm having to pull him.
Right. So that's not a hit to his ego. Why you got me here? My stroke is immaculate. Like, what's up? Like, what we got going on?
We know. We get it.
And that's why I'm very particular about who I'll take on as couples. Okay. Because if I feel that there is this hesitancy or like resentment to even being in the clinical space, I don't have time to pump you up to get you bought in,
right?
To be here,
yeah.
Because I'll still swipe the credit card at the end of the session.
Right.
I'm still getting my money, but as a clinician, I want to make sure I'm helping.
Right.
And that's I'm not going to pump a man's ego. I'm sure have to do that every, and other things. So, but yeah, with couples, picking and choosing.
So if a man came to you, would you tell him no? Like if he came to you just solo, like, hey, I need some.
I would say what makes you want to seek a sex therapist? He would have to have some solid rationale to the point where I knew like he did his research and like really trying to get to heal his trauma.
Gotcha.
If I heard a man say that, I'd be like, here's my availability. Let's schedule a consultation.
Hit men. So okay, so that's the
But you said, and does it insurance and cover?
Yes.
Insurance, I do not take insurance.
Okay.
A lot of sex therapists do not take insurance because think about where we're at as a society. We were talking about this earlier when you were saying we hear it in music all the time. Sex, we see it on social media, we see it in movies, but we're so far behind in other fields of normalizing that we are all sexual beings.
Yeah.
So why is it still so damn taboo to talk about it when it's in our face every day?
Right.
That's true.
So insurance is one of those that is behind because they don't necessarily, some of them do, but they don't acknowledge that sex therapy is a real thing. Even though there's actual DSM-5 diagnoses, especially for pain and sex or sexual dysfunction for a lot of men as they age. That's a whole clinical diagnosis.
Right.
So you think that we should be normalizing that.
That makes sense.
Absolutely sex therapy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.